Dis dagen with Arthur, for Mittinda, good day or good morning. Do vatter avern heddiw, two principal items this morning. The first is to give you a slightly more detailed report of the Keskasilians Kernel section reports from conference working groups that I dashed off to last week, if you recall. And the second is an interview with Len Truren, who is the instigator, founder and manager and general dog's body and everything of Dilanzo Truren. And if you don't know what Dilanzo Truren is, you'll find out when you hear the interview. First of all, the reports from the conference working groups at last weekend's Keskasilians Kernel, a very successful event again. Lots of matters discussed relating to Cornwall. The theme of the conference was Vanishing Cornwall, ? But the session on the Sunday morning that I was particularly interested in was reports from the conference working groups. We had a report from the Working Party on Education, which reported that there is now a handbook of Cornish studies, a Cornish studies handbook, available for use in all schools. And if you are a parent or teacher and interested in seeing that handbook to help school staff and curriculum organisers find out more about how to organise Cornish studies within the school timetable, then do please ask the head teacher if they have a copy of the book in the school, and if not, remind them that they can obtain one from County Hall. It's called the Cornish Studies Handbook, and it's been produced largely through the efforts of the Working Party on Education and Myrna Belloc. There was a report on the Working Party on the Constitution given by Dr. Philip Payton, and I'll play you a short section of a recording of that in a second to give you a flavour of the whole report section. I reported on Skurzo, the Film and TV Committee. There was a further brief report on the Cornish legal system, and one of the most interesting was on the Cornish Worldwide organisation, again involving Myrna Belloc, in which Myrna reported that there is now a Cornish club in Hong Kong and another one in the Yemen. I think there must be quite interesting organisations. Fancy a pasty evening in the Yemen Cornish Club or the Hong Kong Cornish Club. Be quite interesting, wouldn't it? And further developments on Cornish Breton links and Cornish alternatives to the structure plan, Cornish Postal Services Liaison Group and other groups. Now, just to give you an idea of the sort of things that were being discussed and how they were discussed, here's a brief extract from the report given by Dr. Philip Payton on the Working Party on the Constitution.
Having said that, it went, if not into abeyance, it went at least into a period of marking time. The feeling being, I think, that devolution was for the time being a dead issue. That having been successfully killed off in Wales particularly, but also in Scotland to some degree in 1979, devolution was certainly not on the cards for those two countries, so it was therefore doubly not on the cards for Cornwall, so why worry about that when there were more immediate problems to be dealt with? However, in rejuvenating, if that's the right word, the Working Party on devolution, we've recognised, I think, a couple of things. First of all, that devolution is not a dead issue in the United Kingdom. If you go to Scotland, you get a very different perspective on devolution to what you will get in Cornwall or indeed anywhere else in the United Kingdom. Quite if and when that will bear fruit remains, of course, to be seen, but it is clear.
There you are, you get an idea of the kind of debate. It may strike you as a little academic, but that really is the purpose of Keskasilians Kernel. It's a serious opportunity to discuss a whole series of matters across a very wide range of issues very thoroughly. That's the advantage of the conference. And now let's move on to the second topic, which is Dilanzo Truren. Dilans means literally a publishing or a widespreading. Dilanzo Truren, Truren Publications. Len Truren, an ex-headmaster, some while back now, took the very adventurous step of starting his own publishing company. A very difficult thing to do. Publishing is going through tremendously difficult times at the moment. And I asked him how it was that he in fact made the decision to start Dilanzo Truren.
Well, Dilanzo Truren began in the first place 6 to 7 years ago when I retired from teaching. I saw a need for books on Cornish, good authoritative books, and I wanted to produce a catalogue of books which reflected the whole spectrum of the Cornish culture.
So what do you now actually produce each year? Books covering what area of topics and roughly how many?
Well, the whole wide range of Cornishness. Language, literature, history, mining, music, the lot. I've produced altogether 135 titles.
And what role specifically do you play in terms of language books? Are you now the sole publisher of Cornish language books?
Well, I am one of the two main producers of Cornish language books. I produce more than anyone else in the language line. And I've found that I've been fulfilling a great need there on this front too.
Have sales actually been increasing in the Cornish language material?
Yes, in language material they increased phenomenally for about the first 3 or 4 years. They levelled off a couple of years ago, and I'm hoping that there might be a surge forward sometime in the future, but at present we have reached a flat spot.
Okay. You obviously took something of a risk going to what's a fairly specialised area of publishing. What were your reasons for doing that? Why did you feel it was necessary to establish a separate, specifically Cornish publishing house?
Well, my interest has always been in things Cornish, and I was dismayed in my job as a peripatetic head teacher going from school to school to find that there were many good teachers who knew a lot about Cornwall, but who were not passing on their knowledge to their children. And I discovered that the main reason for this was that they had no source of authority to fall back on. Every teacher, when he's putting over a point, likes to be able to quote chapter and verse, or to be able to have some source of authority when he's challenged. And this just didn't exist, so
you wanted to publish the chapter and verse?
That's right, I wanted to publish exactly the chapter and verse. You've got it.
And you think that the venture is proving to be a success?
Oh, the venture is a success. No, there's no doubt about that. I hear from people all over the world, from Australia, America, wherever the Cornish are to be found. They've got a great interest in their homeland and in their home culture, which they feel to be a national culture.
That was Len Truran of Dilanzo Truran Publications. He's in the phone book. His address is Trewolster, Trewergy, Ridroof, and the name is Truran, so a lot of TRs, easy to find. My thanks to Len, and now on to news of Cornish events. In about 10 days' time, there's going to be a poetry evening organised by Kernewek, the Cornish Centre, a poetry evening to be held on the 8th of June at Kernewek, which is Tregarn, Cusgarn, near Truro. The cost is £1.50, which I think includes a glass of wine or some other refreshment. The poems will be both in Cornish and in English, and it should be a very pleasant, enjoyable and civilised evening. Tickets £1.50, poetry evening and Kernewek, the 8th of June, 7:30 in the evening. Yma nodw dwarth Cyseddec Kernel-Pan-Celtic. There is news from the Cornish Committee of Pan-Celtic, and cynta nodw hemma in Vlydden y Ddur and Cestrif Can of Ithrynis in Dowran. In the year to come, 1989, the song contest, which is very popular and well known, of course, by now, will be divided into two sections. One section for songs written and performed in Cornish, and the other section for songs written and performed in English. That's a new departure. Another new departure is that there will be prize money of £100 for the first prize winner in each section. And that certainly is a new departure, and one which I think will encourage lots of writers to submit their entries. Another event organised by Pan-Celtic is the fashion show and dance display, which is on the 31st of May, that's this Tuesday in fact, at 8 o'clock at the Penventon Hotel at Ridroof. Tickets are £1 for adults and 50p for children, selling quite well already, I understand, available from the Secretary or directly at the Penventon. Now, the Secretary, who you should also contact if you're interested in finding details of the song contest, is Jane Trevenna, and her telephone number is PAR 5093. PAR 5093. If you didn't get that, then write to me, and I can always get the telephone number to you again. And lastly, Pan-Celtic have actually asked if anybody knows of a pub or hotel that is interested in holding a Cornish evening, but is looking for performers. Lots of singers and dancers and people involved in the musical culture of Cornwall, of course, are involved and actually take part in Pan-Celtic. So if there is a pub or hotel that is looking for a Cornish evening or very Cornish entertainers, then again they should either phone Jane Trevenna on par 5093 or get in touch with me and I can put them in touch with suitable performers. A hen you all dragon Satan ma, in without him I lever, Golmarastu, Okasloitorthif, Amariag Hamia I'm falling over myself now. Hamiara Agas Gwellers in Satan other, even I make mistakes. Do you get a wee Bithena? Do you get a wee all? Goodbye.